Should you be shot now because you think differently by somebody who don't believe what you believe in? It's just nonsense to me. So I'm
It
sorry.
is,
And I
and
appreciate you
it's
guys letting me rant, but I'm telling
yeah,
you, like, I
it
felt
was sick.
disgusted. I felt literally disgusted.
Whispers of a name, but the proof ain't dire. Bottle of whiskey and a match. Who started this fire?
But I see a wide variety of celebrities who are posting excerpts of some of the things that he said, and then again, they say these things and they post these things without proper context. And some of the clips that I've seen when he's like, when he talks about trans, when he talks about gun rights, when he talks about all of the things that he'll generally talk about, and it's like you see why he's a bad person. And none of these people have the courage to do what he does. Nobody, not people, nobody on the left, I don't see, maybe I'm wrong, will go up
Not at that
and
scale,
go sit.
for sure.
I haven't seen it.
I haven't
That
seen
will
it.
go to different schools and literally, like you said, go to the belly of the beast. Nobody does it. And invite it consistently all the time. And regardless of what side of the aisle you're on, regardless of how you felt about his opinions, at the end of the day, you can take something good from damn near everybody, in my opinion. Fatherhood, black people, take your ass home, black man. Stop doing the bullshit. Take care of your family. Don't leave, right? Now, I understand there could be all kind of extenuating circumstances on why people leave. But at the end of the day, if you're a fucking man, take care of yours. Figure it the fuck out, is what he was saying. The nuclear home. If you're not a Christian, if you're whatever denomination you are, I don't know, whatever you believe in. But the fact is that do right, treat people right, this, that, and the other. All of the other things, trans, this, that, and the other, like, should the people who are celebrating his death, should you be shot now because you think differently by somebody who don't believe what you believe in?
Right, you can throw that same thing
Like,
back
so,
out.
like, shit, you know, and then it's just nonsense to me. So I'm
It
sorry.
is,
And I
and
appreciate you
it's-
guys letting me rant, but I'm
Yeah,
telling you, like, I
it
felt
was sick.
disgusted. I felt literally disgusted
Bro.
when the fact that I'm looking at all these things and I'm like, the first couple, I'm like, see, I told these dudes, again, not that you guys disagreed with anything, but the fact that so many people are celebrating the death of this young man simply because his opinion differed than yours.
People there celebrated the moment he was shot.
Yeah.
There was a guy that stood up right in the front row and was cheering. He's like, yeah, he's dead. And then there was a whole group of people up on the balcony who were protesting his event. And when they saw that he got shot, they were all cheering too. Live.
Yeah, that
Watched a
is
dude get freaking
sick.
Yeah, dude, it's it's so gross. Like, it is such a gross look. All of these people that I see celebrating this shit, and if it happened on either side of the aisle, right? Like, Charlie Kirk is engaging in debate, which is fundamentally like the bedrock of democracy. Like, that's what our country is founded on, is debating. And the reality is most of these political pundits or whoever in this space, they don't debate. They just throw shots at each other, right? And they just throw out reels and shit like that. But most people don't have the courage to actually go and weigh out their ideas and engage with a dialogue with the opposite side. And Charlie Kirk did that. And to your point, you know, I've seen people make some, yeah, he gets snarky, you clap back in a debate, and it can get kind of elevated. I've never personed out that I watch his stuff religiously, but I've watched a ton of his clips and seen his stuff. I've seen him take a lot of personal attacks, like people making it personal in the argument. I've never seen him clap back that way. He always came back with stats, data, and his conviction. And that is the American way. So I just think it's super gross. And like, for people who have been celebrating this, speaking of Taylor Swift, her song, Me, I'm the Problem, It's Me, it's you. Whoever out there who thinks this is cool to kill somebody for having a different opinion, you are what is fucking wrong with this country. Like, you are. Look in the mirror. It's not Charlie Kirk. It's not whoever's on the other aisle, you know, in Charlie Kirk's place. It's you. If your feelings are so fragile that somebody can say something that hurts you and makes you upset enough that you want them to die on what they say, you are a fucking menace to society.
100%.
A menace is it's you. You are the fucking problem. Look in the mirror. You don't have to look any further than that.
Yeah.
That's what's wrong with this country right now is the division. And I understand why it exists. There's so much manipulation in these people over here that are just like going off about how excited that they are that Charlie Kirk is dead. Are they programmed? They're pawns on somebody else's chessboard. I mean,
It
they
goes
just
all the way up.
ingested the programming, and so now they're completely mindless, and they're wishing death on somebody who has a different political or cultural opinion than them.
I had a hard time sleeping last night. I mean, the whole thing is just sick.
Me too. I had a really hard time sleeping a little bit. I felt like I was just icky. I couldn't get it off of me. Here we go. Here's a comment from Twitter, and I'm gonna go ahead and blast this dude. His name is Austin Schroth. He's an educator at Lake Norman Charter School.
Educated, say no more.
In North Carolina, and he said, "Go straight to hell, asshole," at Charlie Kirk. Come on, guys. Like, what are we doing, man?
Once I saw how much of it was, literally was like, no, you can't do that. That's literally horrible. It's horrible. That reportedly, I don't know if it's fact, but that dude's daughter was sitting there in the fucking tent.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
I don't know it to be fact, but that I saw it a few times.
Either way, she's going to see it now or when she gets older.
Yeah,
She'll
she
see
gets
it
older,
her
she-
life.
She
Yeah,
gets to
that's
see every
all
single
over.
angle
So,
of that.
she's exposed to witnessing her father be murdered for being a patriot and engaging in dialogue the American way. She watched him die, and these people are celebrating.
that.
Like it is so gross. Like you should be ashamed of yourself.
I even had buddies. I had friends in group chats of mine that were celebrating this shit. And I was sitting here, I'm like, guys, he's a political commentator. Like, he's not a politician. If it was a politician that got gunned down yesterday, we would be having a much different conversation. Because when it comes to political violence in the political sphere, I believe that sometimes the only way to move the needle is to revolutionize. But killing a political commentator who has gone around and just debated civilly for his whole career is not the way to go about it. Absolutely not.
I think one of the pieces that's missing in this, and I'll call it mental illness. I think people that are celebrating this have some degree of mental illness. They have to, because this is just so far off the rails for what it means to be a human. But I will say this, the reason why I think Charlie Kirk's death transcends politics, and it's not a win for the other side, is because really what Charlie Kirk represented was the First Amendment, the freedom of speech.
Yeah.
That's what he represented. That's what is really attacked right now. Whatever you thought about him personally, whether you agreed with him or not, he has his right to say it. Living in a fucking free country, you have the right to say whatever you want to say, as long as you're not inciting violence. You have the right to say it. And that's what was attacked. That's what was that was the issue yesterday, is there was a guy, an unarmed man, sitting on a stage engaging in his First Amendment right, and some freaking coward shot him from the shadows. And then you have these pathetic human beings that are celebrating it like it's a win. It's a loss for everybody.
And
Big
so
time.
when you want to silence a person like Charlie Kirk, Candace Owens, Donald Trump, Biden, Kamala, whomever, don't vote for him, don't watch him, right? Tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people pay money to go see Charlie Kirk, weekly, daily, however.
Yeah.
Like, he has a massive following. Well, if you don't like what he has to say, don't watch him.
He
Don't
got
support it.
Don't support it.
2.2 million new followers since yesterday, by the way.
Like, there's ways to silence people, and if you ignore the people that you don't want to hear, then it's like they're just you're not preaching to anybody, because nobody gives a shit what you're saying.
They did the opposite.
Like,
They literally magnified him.
And so that's where I was going. I want you to think about this, because this was the angle that I was going to take. Now, is the reverberation of him dying, getting murdered, and the people on the left, if in fact that's who did it, and the people who are celebrating his death, what do you think? How infuriated do you think people are? And with the way a lot of society is today, the backlash, the true backlash over this young man's death, and you're celebrating it. I think everybody should be careful at this point in time.
Well, I think at the very least they made Charlie Kirk into a martyr. So
Absolutely.
this type of violence never solves anything. It doesn't
Nothing.
win something for your side. You killed somebody you didn't like, and now what you've done is you've galvanized your opposition. How either way this
I
goes, right?
perfectly said.
Yeah.
So you're
Galvanized.
literally like waking up the people you disagree with, because it's like the Hydra. You cut off one head and there's going to be 10 more heads that sprout up, and that's what's going to happen here with the Charlie Kirk thing. And there's already been violence. I was just seeing something this morning. I mean, we're in the AM right now, but I saw there was fights breaking out in Idaho. They had a Charlie Kirk vigil in Boise. I believe it was in Boise. And
Oh yeah, there's a massive like brawl.
yeah,
in the middle of the
huge
street.
fight broke out. You know, people were there for
Oh, really?
to stand in solidarity for Charlie Kirk, and clearly there was opposition that showed up, and it, you know, it's
But then you have the people who are on the left who look like, yo, this is bullshit.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Oh, yeah,
there are
that's-
people in my family. People in my family, like, yo,
That's what I'm saying. It
I
got
don't
all
know-
the people in the center now are
That's
gonna.
how everybody should
yeah,
feel.
they're looking like,
hey,
hold on, like this is something.
it's like if somebody
bullshit.
killed. Let me try and think of an equivalent of Charlie Kirk on the left, because I'm a fairly conservative guy. Maybe a Bill Maher. I don't know. You know, Bill Maher engages.
Yeah,
he
yeah,
has a podcast.
yeah.
He doesn't
Pretty
go on
similar. That's a
campus.
good
He doesn't get
example.
on campuses, but he engages in debate.
Yeah.
Which is very rare on the left. Like, right, even like Kamala couldn't engage in any debate. Every single one of her like interviews had to be staged and had to be scripted, like because they
I
won't
think
go
that's
off
why,
on.
because their ideas are so shitty.
Well,
They
that's
just
that.
get
Okay, so
dismantled. there
that's a-
can't be someone on
that's
the
a-
left that like that.
that's a
because it's
different
just
s-
shitty ideas.
Exactly. Well,
They can't be
I
defended.
agree. So
Yeah.
that's a separate topic,
Yeah,
but I
right,
totally
right.
agree. I totally agree with you. But either way, Bill Maher does engage, right? So let's say somebody shot Bill Maher. Dude, I would think of this as a huge national tragedy.
Oh yeah.
I don't agree with most of what Bill Maher says, but the guy is up there speaking what he actually believes. He doesn't he's not regurgitating the party line. He's willing to call out bullshit on his own side, which Charlie Kirk did as well.
Yeah.
Bill Maher is willing to call out bullshit on his own side. He's saying what he actually thinks, and I may disagree with him, but I actually like listening to somebody who has a different opinion than mine, and especially somebody who's honest about their opinion. They're not just a talking head for like the propaganda.
Right.
And that so if Bill Maher was killed today, I would feel the exact same way as I feel right now with Charlie Kirk dying, like this sense of just like, wow, this is a big fucking loss for all of us. And anybody who doesn't see that is a complete idiot. And here's something I want to cook on, because this really bugs the shit out of me. I'm glad everybody's condemning it. I'm glad even from both sides of the political aisle in government they're condemning it. But let's be honest. The politicians that we have create these environments.
Yes.
They say this bullshit. They fan these flames of the bad guys, and you're despicable, and you're not on our team, and you should be eradicated, sort of thing, on both sides of the aisle. They do this shit. They fan the flames for political reasons, for political agendas, to get people to turn up. They create these narratives. They throw these fire bombs into the crowd to get everybody to hate each other. And then when this shit happens, I think it's really gross when these guys come out and apologize. Or not apologize, sorry. When they come out and they're like, oh, this is so bad. This is a tragedy. Well, you motherfuckers, you fan the flames for this shit. If you got some lunatic that's 200 yards out shooting Charlie Kirk in the neck because he's so instigated thinking this guy's the bad guy, the blood is on your guys' hands.
You called him a Nazi for a decade.
Yeah, you're calling this guy a Nazi.
Listen to this comment from Twitter. This is gold. It says, "Here's the thing. When you tell emotionally unstable, social approved, dependent, weak-minded masses in whom you have seeded chronic victim complexes that their political opponents are literal Nazis, you're running the risk that a few of them might take you seriously and act, not realizing that you're just manipulating them and leveraging their fragility for votes. Something to consider."
So then when they get up on their, at their platforms and we don't stand for this and this isn't, what we represent, that needs to be said, but it is so gross coming from these politicians who a moment ago were creating this whole scenario.
Right. Are we gonna talk about too, like how weird this whole thing is too? That they haven't caught this guy. That there's all these other random
I
people
think they have somebody in
that are
custody.
saying that they did it. Yeah, that was the guy they had in custody, and then an hour
they
later,
have another guy.
They
Oh,
had
they do.
They had two
They-
guys in custody yesterday.
As of ChatGPT this morning, they have some guy that was wearing black tactical gear and shit, and they have him arrested, and he fit the description of whoever was shooting from the rooftop.
for some
There
reason,
was-
I don't know.
there was
I
911
dug pretty
calls.
deep in TikTok, and I do this a lot with other things, just trying to educate myself. Whatever. TikTok's a great source, but a lot of things just don't add up. And I thought it was weird that, all these other assassination attempts or people trying to kill people, they find them within the hour, right?
Well, they had
And
that
this
guy.
thing was just like weird. There was all these people coming out saying that I did it. They like falsely saying it. it just felt kind of planned. I also saw some videos of the dude behind Charlie Kirk, like doing signals. I don't know if you guys saw that,
I did see that.
but
I
it
don't
was
know how
almost like
much-
he was
I don't
saying,
know
"All
how
right,
much, like
time to do it."
concrete there is to
It
foundation.
just feels
that thing
sick.
on,
Like this might even be bigger than just some
Well,
lunatic that had the fans, the fire flame.
It reminds me of Trump. I mean, this is very similar, right? Like
Yeah.
shooting somebody in the neck is not usually what you're aiming for. I was listening to a Navy SEAL guy talk about this last night. You know, I'm not much of a hunter. I've only been hunting once, and I've shot a couple of buffalo, so I don't have a lot of context. But I like to shoot. You know, like you're not aiming for the neck if you're a professional, you know, hunter or you're a,
Right.
you know, a sniper or whatever.
Yeah, behind the shoulder.
Yeah, but that's kind of the same thing that happened with Trump. He got hit in the ear. Charlie Kirk's hit in the neck. Both of these things, there's some weird shit. I agree.
Yeah.
It's not landing right with me. Like this is just some lone wolf that got on a rooftop.
Right.
They can't find him.
So, what, the reason I don't really like to get into political conversations and debate with people, because at the end of the day, it boils down to what are you gonna do about it? We'll sit here, we talk about it in 2 months, because it's Charlie Kirk and how he died. It's I was literally in our faces, in people's faces. So
Yeah.
this is not going to be something that just goes away.
No.
Like typically things do, right? We have our news cycles and they just go away. But what are you gonna do about it? We just have conversation all the time, and it's okay, it sounds good on our platforms. So for me, based on my Explore page and my YouTube channel and how things come across, I see these things happen all the time. And I don't think one is worse than the other. So I feel like it kind of bring it back to what we do and what our platform is about is, first of all, this is where I start to blame men. I had a conversation last night with a person who was see, based on what you guys do, meaning us, it still has to come back to men. And then what can we do with our very small platform, with our very small voices? How do we start to affect change, though? Right? Because I think this should illuminate the shit that happens on a regular basis. And again, for me, based on the content that I consume, I see these things happen all the time. So when I seen it happen to Charlie Kirk, again, for you guys, you're talking about it today, and you'll talk about it. We will talk about it, for the next few days or whatever the case may be, and we'll think about it. But hopefully, what this does is it illuminates the things that are happening within society on a regular basis. Because I heard somebody was like, well, how could God take a man with such a powerful voice away from people? Well, if in fact my son was murdered yesterday and Charlie Kirk was, I would wonder, why would God take my baby away from me? So this happens to people literally every day. Somebody's been taken away who didn't deserve to be taken away, right? May not have been as popular as Charlie Kirk. So with my platform and with our platform, I think I would love to, and I'm going to, literally highlight somebody on a regular basis who, this is bullshit, right? This is bullshit, and it really bothers me. And it bothers me because, again, now it highlights the things that I talk about kind of consistently, not with you guys, but at home and with some of my other friends, where the gun violence, and it's not the guns, the people, just the people, and how it's some fucking deranged man. It was not a woman who did that shit. What do we do? And I don't have the answers. I do not have the answers to any of this. So I'm really posing a question, but I'm also I'm putting out a challenge to where we have to fucking highlight. We have to do something to affect change in our communities, within our little small social circles, whatever it is. Because how can we sit and talk about this shit and talk about, oh, he got shot from this, did this, it was in the neck, it was a ricochet here. Who gives a fuck? That young man just died because he was stating his opinion. What are you going to do about it other than just talk about it? Okay, and you're doing what everybody else is doing. What are you going to do different? What makes us different than everybody else?
This is why I think that I honestly think that they are going to liken this death and this martyr to Martin Luther King, because he was an activist who was denoting change in a political sphere that he was making waves that nobody else had. I mean, not even Steven Crowder doing the same exact thing before Charlie Kirk started doing that was making the same waves as Charlie was. Now, somebody who wasn't an avid Charlie Kirk supporter, and in fact, I spoke against some of his talking points frequently. But like it's a big deal, and what we do is we talk about it and we condemn it, and we continue to what the public is already doing is immortalizing him by following him on social media, sharing his stuff, continuing the legacy that he created and built by going to college campuses and having open dialogue and conversations about stuff that we disagree about. We are a free country with the First Amendment, and we have to continue to fight for that. And he literally died performing his right for the First Amendment.
Yeah, I think that's how we kind of honor him or do something, is continue to exercise our rights. Stand up, have the courage to say how you really feel, not be afraid of what other people are going to think. And maybe there's something like, we take this show on the road, start interviewing some of these lunatics and do something similar. I don't know. It's hard to do anything to justify, or to like somehow help.
The shooter,
other than just be a regular American and continue to exercise your rights. I think that's the best way to honor this whole thing.
The shooter did our job. He immortalized Charlie.
No, but the job is not to immortalize Charlie Kirk. The job is to do what you have to do. My point is, what are you as Finn going to do? Buck, Adam, what are we going to do? Right? Adam went from 35 when we started working. He had 25,000 followers. He's up to 300,000 followers. So, there's a voice there, right? We need to do our little part to illuminate the things that happen on a regular basis, not just be fucking talking heads. Yes, we talk. Of course we talk about it. Of course we talk about Charlie Kirk. But then let's highlight, let's put it in people. In my opinion, we need to put this shit in people's faces consistently, because if it weren't Charlie Kirk, you would not have been thinking about the young people and the people who are dying on a consistent basis at the hands of bullshit all the time. Right. So for me, this is just shining a light on it. And it's like, hold on. Like, this kind of nonsense happens all the time. There's mass shootings that happen. Well, you know what? We don't talk about those things.
I mean, there was a shooting at a Colorado school in
Correct.
Denver, and they killed like 2 or 3 kids.
Correct. And then who's doing the shooting, right? There's these fucking deranged men. It's not women doing this shit. It's not women doing this shit.
They might think they're women, though.
Like, huh?
They might think they're women,
different.
though.
Women have a different way of doing this.
Understood.
It is men that are the ones that commit most of the gun violence, for sure.
How do we rein it in? Again, I don't have the answers, but I'm saying the way that I do know is that, we need to have more discussion about the bullshit that happens. If we want, I don't want to talk, again, we talk about all of the things that we literally can't control and nobody's going to do anything about. But I know what I can do, and I know what would have affected me and my community. I know that there's 1 or 2 little boys that are running out around the street, that hear Adam, that hear you and I, the 3 of us, the other 3 of us, that it will affect, and that little person, that young person will do better. There's going to be somebody that follows our platform, and they're going to hear what we have to say, and then they're going to go pay attention. They're going to go have conversation, right? It has to start somewhere. And the conversation starts because you bring something to my attention, and then I'm like, yo, Sam, you just made an amazing point. I'm going to go share that with somebody else, right? I'm going to have conversation with people that I know disagree with me. That's how we can start to take onus and put on ourselves. Right.
So no, I agree with you. So for example, I posted up something last night. I didn't want to, I was kind of reluctant to say something the day that Charlie Kirk was shot, because one, it's an interesting situation because I didn't really follow Charlie Kirk. I mean, I saw a lot of his content. I liked the fact that he was speaking up. He was generally, in terms of our opinions and views, we were kind of generally on the same sort of side. But I wasn't a big Charlie Kirk fan. Nonetheless, his death really did impact me. And it would, like I said earlier, it would have been the same thing if it was a Bill Maher or something like that. I would feel the same way if I saw Bill Maher get shot in the neck. I would feel just as gross as I feel right now. So I was kind of reluctant because I didn't want to be the ambulance chaser trying to throw some content out there just to be on, jumped on the wave. But I don't think that's what people were doing yesterday. I think it affected so many people in so many different ways, myself included, that I felt like I had to say something. Now, I'm a big proponent. I posted this up last night, a reel, to your point about what do we do about it. I posted up a reel last night. Fencer was over there. He was helping me with kind of some of the editing stuff on it. And in less than 24 hours, it has 140,000 views and 30,000 likes. One of it's got over 1,000 comments on it. One of the things I thought was really encouraging to me was, and in this reel, by the way, one of the things I think we do is I think we as a society have to shame certain behavior. I'm not a big proponent of shame on an individual level, but collectively we have to say this is disgusting, and you have to say it, and you got to make that point that this type of behavior is gross. The people celebrating it, the people enacting it, like, we don't think this is cool, and you're a fucking loser if you're doing it. And that's essentially what my reel was saying, was like, all of you who are celebrating, you are the fucking problem. But what was encouraging to me in the comment section was how many people turned up who didn't agree with Charlie Kirk, weren't even close to him on the political side of the equation, that were condemning this and saying, I've never agreed with Charlie Kirk. This makes me feel gross. I hate this. And that's something that this should galvanize both sides to come together. The rational sides, not the mentally ill on the right and the mentally ill on the left, because we got those sides. We got those lunatics on both sides. But for the majority to come together and condemn this collectively and to speak up about this and not let this go. Because, yes, there's violence going on all over the country. We get desensitized to it. There's human life is cheap in a lot of areas of our society. Like, it's a real thing. But what Charlie Kirk represented was something. He represented the First Amendment, the very foundational right that we have that makes America America. The ability to say what you think with conviction and engage in debate about those ideas. And when he got killed, that's what was under attack. And that's why this is so volatile for me. It hurts that he's a family man. It hurts that he's a guy that I think I think he was a really good guy. I didn't agree with a lot of these said, but I thought he was genuine. He felt sincere in what he believed. And that hurts. I mean, that's sad. That's tragic. But this was an attack on our very foundational American way of life.
Yeah.
So
sick.
There's literally
Still
nothing
feel
that you said
terrible.
that I disagree with. I just say again, like you said, we condemn the people who certain behaviors, obviously. So, but based on the things that I see all the time and the content that I consume, I see these types of things happen all the time. And violence, it bothers me. You know what I'm saying? Like, it really, really bothers me. And again, like, this illuminates everything. But I see people. There are people who are on a very who fall victim to violence because they have a voice, because their opinions are different, all the time. And so, again, like, no, they're not Charlie Kirk. They're not Dr. King, and some of these other powerful political figures. But I think that it shouldn't only be a thing when it's a thing to a big person. It should be a thing to everybody every day, right? If you want to really be a difference maker, make it a thing all the time, not when it's like, oh, it's a thing because it happened to this person. Well, that person should highlight the bullshit that goes on all the time, in my opinion. Hello. This bullshit happens all the time to people. So, as an individual, you start to make change as an individual because you can impact the people that are directly around you. And then it slowly starts to grow and get bigger and bigger, i.e., you started off at 20 grand, now you're 300 grand, 300 to 600. Because what you have to say, it slowly starts to grow and grow organically. And I think we as individuals have to take onus on ourselves to impact what we can directly around us. Not just talk about it, that's a part of it. But what are we going to do? And how do you affect the person next to you who doesn't have the same opinion as you? And do you have discourse with this person? Let's have conversation. Let's disagree, because now that person becomes better.
That's a good point, man. I think that's a really good point, because if I'm really taking this to a macro level, I was just throwing stones at...
Relax.
I was throwing
Can't throw stone.
rocks.
That's too heavy of a rock.
Don't say Pop's name in vain. That's a heavy ass rock.
It is
over
too solid.
Relax.
No, like, I was just, condemning politicians for fanning these flames, but these politicians represent us. They represent us. At the end of the day, this is a collective problem. And to your point, like, we've become so desensitized. And it's a whole thing, right?
The whole thing.
Like, because it's going on all over the country every single day. And then you get these movies that glorify it. You get this music that glorifies it. All of this is a representation of what we hold up as a value system collectively. So at the end of the day, Charlie Kirk's blood and the blood of everybody else is on our hands collectively, because we don't condemn this stuff, because we do tolerate it, because we do become desensitized to it. So I think this is a real human problem. I think this is a real issue that we have right now in our democracy, is that we're okay with copious amounts of violence in our entertainment, in our news cycle, in our communities, and we turn a blind eye to it, and then we elect these fucking goons as our politicians. I have no problem with somebody having a polarizing opinion, right? I have no problem with really intense debate. That's healthy. And you should stand on your convictions. You should believe what you believe, but also be open-minded to change, right? Like, have your convictions, believe them, but be open and recognize that whatever convictions you have, whatever opinions you have, they've been handed to you by somebody else. They didn't just come out of the ether. You didn't just come up with them in your own head. We're literally ingesting programming all the time. And so your opinions are just opinions, no matter how much you believe they're true. They're just fucking opinions from a very, very small perspective in the big scheme of things. And so, yes, you need, as humans, we need to have things we believe in. We have to have ways we structure our lives and we orient our value system. I understand that. But you also got to be more open-minded. And the closed-mindedness on both sides of the political spectrum right now is what's really the issue, is that people are just completely closed off to any notion that they might be wrong or that the other side might have a valid point. We just demonize them.
They're fearful to be wrong, yeah.
Whatever it is, the psychology
of
humans that they have to feel certain. You know, this is the thing that I hate with religion, and religion goes beyond just like a belief in God. You have political religion, cultural religions. Everybody's worshiping something, and everybody's involved in some form of religion, whatever you title that or label that. But that's the problem with religion, is it sells this divisiveness and this bullshit, and that, like, you're the special kids, you're right, everybody else is wrong sort of notion, and that is such a corrosive force. Not only on society, but on the individual. The fact that you can't allow yourself to even have the idea that you could be wrong, like, that doesn't even occur. Like, you're so set in this like limited perspective and belief to the point that you're celebrating somebody dying who doesn't agree with your perspective.
Yeah. Do you think all people standing up, having the courage to say how they feel and standing on this and calling it out and condemning it, is that going to be enough?
No.
Is our system
that
corrupt that, all the voices, the whole 360 Americans could speak out and condemn this, and it's not enough for change because there's corruption, and we can't even get the right guy in there as a politician.
No, because
there's this game that he's not allowed to fucking play in, where he doesn't have enough money or whatever. That's what worries me. It's like, I feel like there's a lot of discussion on YouTube. There's a lot of people condemning some of these bad things. I mean, we do it. There's tons of people. The majority of people are like us, and how come there hasn't already been change?
Are they, though? Are they? Because if you look...
I think there's more people disgusted with this than are fucking celebrating it, for sure. There has to.
I would love to believe that.
But I'm just curious. Do you think it's enough?
When it first happened, overwhelmingly, on Twitter and Instagram and even on my Facebook feed, I saw more celebration than I did shock and horror.
Bro.
And that's a fact.
Bro.
Now this morning, all that shit's getting taken down and censored and shit like that.
Sure.
Is
now
it so
it's all
appalling, though? So everyone looks at it and then it gets forced to the top of the algorithm? Like, is that truly the majority voice?
That's probably true. And yeah,
I think
there's definitely some of that.
Bro, I think that, I don't know the numbers, but it's going to be close on a split, right? Because remember, half of the society didn't like what he had to say. There's a large faction of people did not like what he had to say. Now, I'm going to be in your camp and think that most people did not want him to die. But I have such a lack of faith in people's humanity right now. Like, right now, I'm like, yo, like, people are disgusting. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm really disappointed in the fact that you will glorify somebody's death. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
I am vehemently against violence, especially, like, I don't care. You could be the biggest white supremacist. If you don't touch me, you have your opinion. Like, these dudes who want to have all white communities, I don't give a damn. Like, the fuck?
Yeah.
I don't give a damn. You may not, you have your thing. And if you're not doing anything to me or anybody around me, it's like, no, I just want us to be us. This right here, I have $1 billion. Nobody comes in but us. I don't give a shit. Nobody else comes in. Who gives a damn? I wouldn't give a shit. Once again, if you stand on what you believe in and you're not impacting anybody else, do you. Do you. Like, you get all of these people who want to, like, argue and bitch and complain and moan and groan about their individual rights. Their right, you know what I mean? And then they talk about they're like violence. And it's like, oh, you know what I mean? Our community is being attacked. Oh, we should
By
be able
your
to have a
words,
voice. Yeah,
right?
exactly. It's like all of these
Outta
fucking
here.
people, but yet and still you're the same people that are celebrating somebody getting shot alive, like getting shot, period.
Yeah.
But yet and still now you're not thinking about that thing. Do you not think about this man's wife? Do you not understand what she is going to have to go through?
Or his babies.
Kids, yeah.
So look, you're 100% right. You know what I'm saying? Cut me off, but I'm telling you, I did not think that I would feel like this passionate about this shit.
I didn't either.
Like,
Yeah, this is like an Uno reverse from yesterday, bro.
bro, because like
You let it sink in, huh?
it really kicked
Started
in,
thinking
and
about
I'm
it,
starting
yeah.
to think about like
It got harder and harder for me as the day went on. Like when we got that shit, when we're all sitting in my house and we're talking about it, we're like it's happening in real time. We're all like trying to process this, dude. Me and Kylie last night, like we were just like, we feel like shit right now.
it's
Like it feels dark,
It-
I did not sleep.
bro, it's fucked up.
and
'Cause
it's
I had a
crazy
whole-
because again, I don't like Charlie Kirk wasn't my guy.
Yeah, same.
No.
You know what I'm saying? But
I didn't
it's
follow
what
him.
it's
I
what
would
he
watch his
represented.
clips though.
And the issue is, to your point, this deeper underlying thing. This is where the dark. I think you're hitting the nail on the head for me.
Uh-huh.
Where this darkness, right, this in my soul right now is feeling is that like this is an indictment of the American people. Like that's what it is. Like we are seeing the symptom of a very sick, morally bankrupt people, where we celebrate violence, we celebrate all kinds of bad behavior. Men and women objectify each other. Nobody's loyal to each other anymore. Everybody's out fucking just living these hedonistic, really self-centered lives. And then we live in this divisive culture where we as the livestock in this whole system are constantly being like incited and manipulated into hating each other because we're such a weak people. We've lost our standards. We've lost our values. We've lost that glue that holds a society together. I think this is a really scary place right now for the future. And anybody who's celebrating chaos like this is a good thing. I got into a debate with an anarchist the other day on social media, and I'm like, dude, you're a fucking idiot. I understand why you go. Hey, I'm the first to say the government's bullshit, right?
Right.
But the only thing worse than a government is no government. Like chaos.
for sure.
Do you have any idea like what it would look like for us if this devolves into a form of civil war of any kind?
It's silly. Walking Dead.
People's lives.
Walking,
are-
you know what I mean?
Well,
It's
we
like-
live in The Walking Dead because you have
yeah.
the majority. I was listening to the PBD podcast the other day, and if I remember correctly, they were talking about there's only like 15% of people on either side of this political aisle you can actually talk to, right? That are actually open to having their opinions
Yeah.
changed. It's like so there's like 30% of the population at most that is open-minded enough to say, hey, I could have my opinion changed with new information, Everybody else is so entrenched. That's the fucking modern day zombie apocalypse. Are these people that are just like so set in what they think? I mean, you look at these people on the left right now. The data is out there. The research is out there. They're still getting their vaccinations. They're still getting their boosters. They're driving around alone in the car with a mask on.
I've seen it
Fuck.
still.
You're a fucking
I
zombie,
saw that
dude.
like a month ago.
Like
I was
that is
like,
the zombie
What?
apocalypse.
Like 2 days.
I saw somebody just the other day, a grown-ass man drive past me
The
with a mask on by himself in the car. And I'm just like, oh, dude, this is funny, though. I do have to tell this. So back in the COVID, I never put the mask on. I thought the mask was bullshit. And even during COVID, anybody driving around in a car alone with a mask on was a fucking idiot. And I had no respect for him, right? So I had to go into this hospital. I had this hernia. I went to this clinic, and of course, they make me put on my mask. So I'm going through the whole, checkup on my hernia. And then I get out, get my truck, and I'm pulling out of the clinic. And this dude in another truck drives past, and he just gives me the grossest look, dude. He's just like, shaking his head. And I realized I had my mask on.
Oh.
I forgot to take it off coming out. So I'm sitting alone in my truck with my mask on, dude.
Like,
and this
no,
guy's
that's
just like,
not me.
fucking loser. And I was like, oh, shit, dude.
It's not me, dude. I swear. I'm taking it off right now.
Which I did, of course, promptly, but it was kind of ironic.
Yeah, that's
Listen, I got some final thoughts on this, and then I want to hear what you guys have to say, kind of closing out on this kind of show that's a little bit more solemn than some of our other stuff. Not a lot of laughter today, but I think just to everybody out there that sees this, the few, in the coming days, you're definitely going to see clips and quotes and videos of this man and you're going to see people out there saying that he deserved it. I mean, we're already seeing tons of that. The fact is he didn't. He was a commentator. He may disagree viscerally with nearly everything he said, but he was a commentator. He had the right to articulate his views. That's what freedom of speech means, right? So now you may think his rhetoric made America worse, that he profited over creating further division, but he was a commentator. He had the right to articulate his views. Political violence is dark. And I think that path should only be reserved for like the gravest of evils. Tyranny, genocide, and oppression. This was none of that. What happened yesterday was terrible.
I want to say, like, again, like, I think I break everything down to the foundation. And I feel like it has to affect change, and for things to change, it has to start somewhere. And all we ever do is talk. Right? And so we have to start individually to start to do what we can to make things happen. But I think all of the people who are out here celebrating this man's death, you need to stop and think about the fact that that little boy who's 1 and the little girl who's 3 and the mom, that young lady, she's going to have to explain what happened at some point, and then they're going to see it. They're going to see it. It's out there. You can't scrub it. It's out there. Their dad being murdered, and then why he got murdered. I can't. Think about those kids. You know what I'm saying? I can't, like, when that little boy, when they're in 5th grade, 6th grade, 7th grade, whatever grade, and then they have a difference of opinion. You don't think there's going to be some kind of PTSD because of what they've seen and what they've heard, and the fact that they know their dad died because he just stated an opinion.
yeah.
And there's going to be
think it
kids
goes
who say
beyond
there's going to be
even his
kids who
kid.
say to them in school that he deserved it.
Like, think about that shit.
Right.
His opinion. Like, to me, go ahead, Adam. Like, it just drives me crazy.
Well, one thing though, I will, and who knows how this falls out for the children in this, but one thing for the children to know is that they should be very proud of their father.
Facts.
That's one thing they should take away from this, that their father gave his life for what he believed in, and he was a good man. Whether you agreed with him or not, he was a good man that stood up for what he believed in a very courageous way, because there's very, 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 very few people that have the balls to do what he did, to go and engage in open debate at colleges in the heart, the epicenter of his adversity, of the adversity, to go to those places all over this country and have engaging debate is exactly what America is about. I think there's 3 things that make America great. The first one is our value system. It's based on Christian values. But these values are generally values that we can all get our minds around, whatever our walks of life are. We have a value system that we believe in. We have democracy. We have freedom. And the other thing that makes America great, as opposed to any other nation out there in the world, I believe, is our diversity. Diversity is a strength. And these are where you see that diversity, I mean, like anything, there's 2 sides of the coin. It could be good or bad. This is the bad part that we see, the sick side of that. But diversity, different ways of thinking, different perspectives, different backgrounds, it makes us stronger collectively if we can not demonize each other for our differences. It's what makes America so damn interesting and cool, is that all walks of life can come here. And because of freedom and because of our value system, anybody can build a life here. They have the freedom to succeed, and they have the freedom to fail. And a lot of us are horrified by people having the freedom to fail. Like, it can go wrong for you. We live in a world of entropy. But Like, that is what makes America great, is that we have different ideas, we have different opinions, and we have the freedom to be able to speak those ideas and opinions and have them weighed out in the public square and vetted, and for people to engage in these types of discussions. And so I do think it starts with conversation. Maybe that's all we can do right now to affect change. All we can do is sit around our fire and say, who started this fire? We started the fire. Us, the American people, tolerating this nonsense and allowing this bullshit to creep into our psyche and being so damn close-minded to different points of view. Yes, have your opinions. Yes, stand on your convictions, but always be open-minded to a new perspective, a new way of thinking, because if you aren't, you are stuck. You are programmed. You are a zombie in this experience that we're all going through in life. We should be embracing these changes, and we should be embracing different opinions. And that's my takeaway for me on a personal level.
Yeah. My takeaway is just have the courage. You know, the people that were already talking before Charlie's death are still going to be talking after and still trying to support the First Amendment. But it's the people that are in between that maybe need to say something. Stand up, have the courage. That would be my 2 cents. That's how you could honor, you know, Charlie Kirk, or honor, you know, America, make America better.
Boots in the dust, smoke in the air, echoes of a shotgun